Okay, mic check.
Check, check, check.
Check, check.
A little louder and a little closer.
Check, check.
Beautiful. That volume and that distance, you're perfect.
All right.
We ready?
Go ahead.
All right. Welcome, Joey Kupstas, my man, serial entrepreneur. Moose, you know him well. And I believe Joe has something to say to you. Before we get started with this whole story, what do you want to say to Moose?
Oh, no, this is my second round recording a podcast with you.
The first round went great, except that Moose didn't let us know that the recording got cut off about 20 or 30 minutes in.
Okay. No,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Little conspiracy theory I have going.
Okay.
Everything was going great. We started to go down the path of talking about Moose's love life.
Aha.
As soon as the love life conversation happened, I think homeboy hit the pause button.
Probably.
This ain't going to be recorded. We're not going to release it. Right?
Not what happened.
Oh, all right,
No.
Moose. I don't know. It looks very...
That's not what happened.
Does not look good. I'll go there.
We were like 45 minutes in. It was like 40
We're in
minutes.
deep, and I shared my soul.
You did.
I
And
gave a lot of information, and boom, you hit that button.
when I got the notification on the screen, and I forgot you were mid-story, and I was like, shit. I was like, I can't stop. I'm like, I looked at him. I was trying to give him I even texted him because I was like, I can't stop this guy. He's too good. Like, I don't know what to do. So I was like, all right, maybe I can work with this. Like, maybe like midway I can just like go in and cut some stuff. But then the ball kept rolling and yeah.
It's okay. You know, we did go on into your personal life, and I think
No, it was.
we're
I've
not
shared.
releasing this part.
No, I've shared a lot of my personal life on here.
Yeah. We'll never get it, though, because it's gone into the ether.
Right.
It's
right. Control Alt Delete.
You know.
Gone.
Yeah.
Do you believe this theory? You believe this theory?
I'm
No, you
just
don't.
messing. I'm just messing.
I know.
I mean, well, how about you give us an update on your love life for now before we start?
Anyways, Joe, it's really good to have you back. We're super excited to give you the full.
Thank you for the second invite.
Yes,
I'm
no,
very
because you
happy
know
to be
why
here.
we like you that much. Second time's better.
I was gonna go with Moose wanted to see me again.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
do.
'cause I thought it went so well, but
I gotta get down to Shrewsbury.
you got to.
We were just talking about that on the walk over. I gotta get down to Shrewsbury.
You do.
Yeah.
Bro,
What if
I
I
was-
moved in with you?
I was over his house last weekend. We were having a good time. Our sons are like super tight. So we were over, we were BSing, hanging out. His house is beautiful. He has a deck, right? And there's a TV in the corner. And then he has, like when you go to a restaurant and it's a cool night and you do outdoor dining and they have like those heaters?
Mm-hmm.
He has those. So it was like a cool night, but I was still nice and warm and cozy. It's beautiful. And it's all because of, so Joe has, how many businesses do you have?
Nicole likes to throw out all the businesses I have, but some of them are real estate holding companies. But there is 7 companies in total.
7.
Yeah, but the majority of the businesses is high-end residential remodeling,
Yeah.
and then the other company is it's an architecture firm that sells materials. So
Okay. You're like one of those guys. You see them on Instagram and stuff, and they're like, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I got this many businesses, that many businesses. And I'm like, I don't even have one business. How do these guys have so many freaking businesses? But you do have it.
it's a lot of work. It's a lot of ups and downs.
Yeah.
You know, you got to go through a lot of failures. I was this morning I was looking up a couple things, and a number came up. Only 20% of entrepreneurs are successful, where they get to a plateau of success where it's stable and it's running. Within the first 5 years, 50% of them are gone.
Mm-hmm.
So only 15 to 20% actually make it, which is a very low number if you think about it. There's thousands of businesses started every month.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of work that goes into it to get it to a point where it's working, and you can't quit. That's the biggest thing.
Well, let's go back to when you first went into business, because you didn't just go, oh, I want to start a business, and it happened, and you're here, and you're comfortable. That's definitely not how your story went, right?
Definitely not.
So you started in construction.
So carpenter by trade, went to trade school,
Yeah.
worked for a home builder, pretty much in the field on a framing crew, and then into a finish materials, doing finish work, crew.
But even that story, you were a teenager and the guy didn't give you a job until you you showed how persistent you were with how bad you wanted it.
Yeah, very true. Len Gengel was my mentor and really my dad figure. Didn't have a dad growing up. So he really replaced that in my life.
Yeah.
And it started really young. I was about 15. He lived in the neighborhood that my parents decided that they were going to move from Worcester out to the Wachusett area, bought a house on a lake. So city kid ends up in the country.
Yeah.
Type of story. And then he lived in the neighborhood that we were living in. Len Gengel did. And I basically called him and said, hey, I'm in carpentry, vocational school. It's summertime. I really would like to work and start to learn the trade and things like that. And he said, how old are you? I said, 15. He said, well, you can't get a worker's card. Back then you had to get an actual license to work if you were under a certain age.
Yeah.
I don't know if they still do that, but now, I don't think they do that as much. So I hung up. He said, call me next summer. I said, okay. I got off the phone, said to my mother, I'm like, this is what he said. Can we look into that? And my mother said, oh, yeah, we'll look into it. My mother was very, very, like, get stuff done, So she said, no, you can get it now. So I called back, and I said, I can get that worker's card now. And he said, well, I'll have somebody pick you up tomorrow. Because I didn't have a license at 15, so I had to get picked up by one of the foremen and get brought to work. So that's kind of how my carpentry started.
Yeah, and that's how you got the ball rolling. So at what point did he take you under his wing?
So that was pretty much a part-time job. It was summers, weekends, and then continued school. Graduated from high school. I don't want to date myself, but 1995, I graduated from vocational school and went to work full-time for him. Working in the field, things like that. Did that for a couple of years and then got to the point where I'm like, I just don't want to work in the field the rest of my life. I got to do something else. So I enrolled in Becker College, which is gone now, which was in Worcester, and just wanted to take business classes and continue my education and try to do something different. And he kind of noticed that. I went to him and I said, hey, I got to get out of school. I got to get to school at a certain time, so I got to leave at this time, on Mondays and Wednesdays or whatever the classes were. And he said, okay, no problem. And then I did that for about a month, and he pulled me in the office. He's like, hey, why are you going to school? I said, I am not meant for the field long term. I'm not going to be that guy. A lot of the guys at that point in the field were very miserable, working, 40s, 50s, labor all day. It was a brutal experience as a young kid, and they can burn you out of a trade real quick. Yeah. Which is why I tried to talk to our carpenters about treating the younger guys with some respect and, and a positive attitude, because they'll leave the trade, and we don't want people leaving the trade right now. So, so basically, started school like that. He said, hey, I think I'm going to bring you into the office. If that's the way you want to go, I'll bring you into the office. I said, that would be great, so I can see a different part of the business. So I came out of the field young as a carpenter. I was probably around 20. And then he came to me and said, I'm going to pay for your school.
Wow.
I'm like, okay. So at that point is when he kind of took the dad role.
Yeah, yeah. Did he have any kids of his own?
Oh, yeah. He has kids of his own, and his kids were very young at that point.
Yeah.
So, and I was 20. And he just saw the drive and ambition. And at the end of the day, I didn't have anyone that really was like, hey, good job.
Right.
There really wasn't anybody. So he was that person. So when you have that person, that's the only person you're trying to impress.
Right.
So it just fed from there.
That's says a lot, considering that, because sometimes I think people will take somebody under their wing if like they don't have kids and they're like, oh, this could be like my kid. But the fact that he must have saw something really good in you, that he took you under his wing like that.
He definitely did. Amazing business person. Not afraid of any industry, business. It's really how everything that I do today really stems from
Yeah.
very similar type of things that he did over his career. You know, it was kind of like a very good foundation for me. How he treated clients, because he was just a home builder mostly, you know, and how he treated clients that were buying a house from him, I do very similar to today.
Yeah. So at what point did you think to yourself that you could do it on your own?
Fast forward a little bit after that, I'm 20. Now I'm heading 27, 28. I have kids of my own, built my own house, you know, started, you know, the parents with bills phase of my life. And the housing market was always volatile at that time. You'd have really good years.
Yeah.
And then you'd have really bad years. We were kind of going into a housing recession. You could kind of see it coming. And I kind of went to him and said, hey, listen, I know you have to, you know, lay some people off. He had to have a big meeting and stuff. And I said, I have kind of something I can do right now. And if you need to let me go, you know, don't let this other person go that I knew had 3 kids and it would affect him more. I knew he could do most of my job.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, no, that's not what I'm talking about. He got kind of upset about it. And then we kind of let it sit for a little while. And then it kind of hit more, and then he came to me and said, okay, if you're really ready, I think, you know, it's time, and I'd like to help you.
Wow.
Okay? Like, this guy helped me my whole life, right? So never stopped. So it was kind of like he said, what do you think you need to get a business started? I said, geez, I don't know. I need a computer. I need all these things, right? I need insurance. I need a pickup truck because I basically was driving a company vehicle, you know, all these things.
Yeah.
He said, make a list with the amounts and I'll loan you the money. So put a spreadsheet together, gave it to him. He wrote a check and said, put you in business.
Wow.
So then he's not done. You know, so, you know, I start the company. We start getting it going. I actually started my first company with my best friend, Dale.
Mm-hmm.
Dale was a techie, and it was called Goodfellas Construction, and it was my learning company. And it went from very good to very bad, and we could probably get into that a little bit. But
Yeah.
He said, I'm going to throw you a launch party. Okay, what is a launch party? He said, we're going to invite a bunch of people, and we're going to have a party. So, okay. So he threw it. It was at Maxwell Silverman's, which used to be near the police department in Worcester. It was a big venue. And he threw a huge party for me, launch party. And at the end of the night, he handed me an envelope with a thank you card. And, you know, that was the end of my business relationship with him. And I got home and opened the card, and it was the spreadsheet loan. It said paid in full.
Wow. This dude's the man.
Yeah. It was a very emotional time. It was great. Like, just start yourself in business.
Yeah.
So that was the start of it. You know,
Yeah.
It was the start of my own business. And the thing, when you start your own business, you think you know what you're doing, and you have no idea.
Yeah.
So, you know, Dale and I were very successful prior to owning our own business.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of that business was very successful, but a lot of it was 28-year-old kids running a multi-million-dollar company, and you don't know what you don't know type of thing. So,
Right. How did you guys separate the duties, I guess? Like, did you say, okay, I'll be the field guy, you be the office guy? Did you have that talk beforehand, or?
Yeah, so Dale and I, prior to starting that company, Dale's a serial entrepreneur as well.
Yeah.
The fear of no business is what a serial entrepreneur is. If you like it, we'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Figure out the financials of it, figure out how to run it. And Dale's a serial entrepreneur as well. And we owned rental properties together and other little businesses prior to starting the construction company.
Yeah.
So we knew how to work together.
Mm-hmm.
And the goal was to start this company. It was just when was the right time. So basically, Dale was a techie and understood the marketing and the online setting up the websites and marketing and all that stuff. But he was also really good at project management because he had the project management of teams. He had to project manage teams in the techie, where he worked for EMC at that time, running their building their software and things like that. So he had a lot of business experience, where I had a lot of the construction experience. So I took a lot of the field, developing, hiring carpenters. I did all the sales, selling the jobs, pricing the jobs, ordering materials, things like that. And then we kind of did a lot of the functions together as well.
Yeah.
It was funny, as before I came on the first podcast, Moose, the first one.
Yeah.
I called Dale and I said, Dale, I'd never been on a podcast. Ramiro invited me onto his podcast. What should I say? He goes, what should you say? You got so much to talk about. He says, start with a joke. He says, tell him you sent $12 million to a checking account and you have nothing. And that's basically what we did in a very short period of time. Because that company went from 300,000 the first year to 5 million in 3.5 years.
Wow.
Yeah, in a down housing economy. This was 07, 08.
Yeah.
So we figured out an algorithm that worked and what people needed in an industry that is very unprofessional.
Right.
People, they don't do their paperwork. The pricing's wrong. There's no process. That's the biggest piece of it, right? An industry that doesn't evolve.
Yeah.
So I talked a lot about, technology companies, right? Every year the technology changes. People are educated. They're coming out of school with different educational skills. In the construction world, it's materials, labor, build it. You can go 10 years and nothing really changed. So I'm doing a process now that I did 17 years ago, and I'll still go into meetings and nobody has a process that I'm competing against. It's an industry that doesn't evolve. It gets worse every year.
Right.
Now you're fighting people that don't want to go into the trades, so it gets worse every year.
Yeah.
There's another statistic. So I'm considered a construction manager, right? The company that I own. So for every 10 construction managers that retire, that own a business, only one replaces them. So it's kind of an industry that's kind of slowly, like, who's going to do this work?
Right.
Who's going to run all these things? So you gotta kind of train down and get the younger guys really involved. And now when they're starting to see, oh, you can make this much money as a plumber.
Yeah.
I got plumbers making more than kids coming out of college with master's degrees.
So if you figured this out early on, then what happened where that first business ended up failing?
It's a series of not understanding financials. Mm-hmm. So you got all this money coming in, but you also got all this money going out, right? I used to kid around and say, there's a fan in the office, I'm at the door, and all the money's blowing out the door, and I'm just trying to grab enough to live. Mm-hmm. And it's an analogy of, I didn't really understand my numbers, right? I probably wasn't charging enough to start. The overhead was eating our profits because the company was growing so fast. You have to have money to inject into a company as it's growing. Mm-hmm. So great example. My new company, Remodel Works, is at a higher volume than that company now, but it took 13 years to get there versus 3.
Right.
So if you can see the difference there, you have to have money to inject into it. And when I started Remodel Works, I didn't have $1. It was nothing.
Yeah.
So you had to slowly build that volume, say no a lot, and continuously watch my numbers and understand what I was doing.
Yeah. So how long were you in Dale? You said 3 years. You were, what was it, up to 3 million or 5 million?
When we end the last year, it was 5 million.
And that's how long you were in business for?
We were in business for about 4 years.
For about 4 years.
4 to 5 years, yeah.
So how was that? Because you said you and Dale are still best friends.
Yes.
How was that conversation to end the business?
So we knew we were in trouble, right? The other thing we had was we didn't hire great people At
Yeah.
that size of a company, right, we needed people. Couple project managers, kind of siphoning money outside, kind of stealing money from projects through, change orders to homeowners and stuff like that can put you in a bad situation right away. And then, we kind of knew we were in trouble, right? So we had the conversations every single day. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Okay, we got to get rid of this person, get rid of that person. Dale and I's relationship was so close. What we would do is we would constantly talk each other out of it. No, we should probably keep that guy. Or I would say get rid of this person, and Dale would say no. And it was kind of back and forth. At the end of one of the years, I think it was 2010, Dale came in the office and said, we're in big trouble. Company's going down. EMC wants me to be a consultant. He said, we're too tied into the company together to get out of it. He said, I'll step back. You make all the decisions and try to right the company. So that was the start of 2011. So Dale literally was not involved anymore. The start of January, I called everyone to the office. I had four salespeople, I had office people, I had project managers. I called everyone in the office and I said, this team cannot run this company at this size, and everyone is let go today. I fired the entire office.
Oh, damn.
I called Dale. Dale goes, you did what? I said, Dale, I let everyone go in one shot together. He goes, now what? I go, I'm in big trouble because we have millions of dollars sold and I have nobody to help me. At the same time, there was another big company, because a lot of companies were going through downsizing because the economy shifted at that point.
Yeah.
It was, the financial crisis was going on. That 08, 09 was terrible for money in general, real estate, everything. So at that point, I got this company is downsizing. So I knew the controller. I emailed the controller and I said, hey, did they let anybody good go? She said, yeah, they let 50 people go. And there's a lot of good people in there. I said, okay, here's what I need. I need a project manager. I need an assistant project manager, a salesperson, and someone that can help me with accounting. She said, all right, here you go. Sent me all their resumes.
Yeah.
Came in one after another. You're hired. No, they're not going to work out. Yep. Hired a whole team within a couple of weeks. And they came in. I said, here's the job. I was very honest with them. I said, we need to fix the company. We have a very huge amount of money we owe. We got to run these jobs correctly, get that money, pay everything down, and right the ship. They said, we can do it. Done. Crank through that whole year, whole summer. I'm like, we did it. It's coming back. I can see everything's getting paid down. Everything's running right. The jobs are running right. The sales are coming in. I'm like, this is great. We did it. We fixed it. We get into November. We have about 2.5 million pre-sold going into a winter. I'm like, we did it. We fixed it. Because that 2.5 million was just the profits from that would have got us straight. And then we were on a clear starting point for 2012.
Yeah.
Like, we got it. In November, the banks decided that they were going to stop all the money. So I get the first email. Sorry, Joe, we can't do our project. They closed our credit line.
What does that mean though? Like the banks are gonna.
So when a financial crisis is going on, the banks have, at that point, it was a housing crisis, right? So you have all these people that were over leveraged on the house, right? So now you have houses that the house values are dropping, so their equity is not really there anymore. Very bad position for a bank is loaning money out on an upside down house, right? And there was a lot of foreclosures. So the banks were sitting with all these houses at that point. So it was just a lot going on in all different directions. The bank can close your credit line. So a lot of my clients have credit lines on their house. So let's say your house is worth, $800,000. You only owe $400,000. You have $400,000 in equity. A bank will give you 80% of that as a credit line to use, usually for home improvements. Some people use it for stuff they're not supposed to, but it's meant for home improvements because you're putting that money into the house, increasing the value of the house, and the bank's in a good position. I don't know why they don't have restrictions on what you use the money for, but it's like an open checkbook, which is pretty crazy to me. Because I've had projects where it started at one size and they are going on vacations and buying cars and stuff with the money, and now all of a sudden the project's cut in half. So I don't know why they don't have restrictions on what you can use the equity money for. It should be used in the house. I mean,
Right.
It's an equity line, you know. But at that point, the banks were over leveraged, so they just closed. They were just closing the credit lines. So you'd go to write a check and it would bounce. So that was the first email. The second email was literally 2 days later. Our construction loan got denied. I'm like, oh, that's two. Well, geez, that project was 200. That one was 300, and it just kept going.
Yeah.
So 6 projects canceled out of the $2.5 million. And I called Dale and I said, Dale, that's it. That's the writing on the wall. I think everything happens for a reason. I think if we had just gone out of business before, I don't think that year was so much learning on how to write a company. And I had to do it by myself because Dale pretty much went to work for another company. He was there for like moral support, but I was really doing it on my own. And Dale's that kind of guy. Dale, money does not mean the same to Dale that other people. So I think Dale was injecting some of that money into helping me live at that point. He's like, I made this much money. Here, take this.
Wow.
I'm like, who does that, right? He's an interesting guy. He really is an interesting guy. My best friend since 10 years old. And how we saved the friendship, you asked, is another great conversation. Is at one point, now Dale's back involved because the company's going down at that point. And we're fighting. I mean, viciously fighting in the office, right? And he leaves, and he comes back in like 2 hours later. He sits down, he's looking at me. He said, the goal right now is to save our friendship. I said, okay.
That's good.
And that's what the plan was. So he said, we're going down. We'll go down together, and we will come out on top, but we'll be friends.
Yeah.
So
I think people really underestimate what it means to have like a good like tribe around you,
Oh my God.
and like, cause like you can't ever really do it alone.
Absolutely.
You can get to a certain point alone, but like you really can't. Whether it's someone just helping you in the beginning, paying off your loan when you don't have much, or your friend telling you, know what, this business shit isn't worth it right now, like
right.
this matters more, and that just gives you an even bigger boost to save the business. You know what I mean? It's like those little moments really can shift your trajectory.
I mean, they always say the 5 closest people that you're associated with is the most important, right? I mean, I've had to cut out family. I've had to cut out close friends, lifelong friends. It's just, when you're going down a road and you start to get successful, a lot of people can't handle that you're figuring it out.
You think that comes from a place of like ego on their end, like they're jealous, not jealous, but like why him?
I really think it goes back to the 20%, right? If only 20% of people can make it, right? You have 80% of people that want to make it, right? They want to run their own business. They want to do their own thing. But 80% of people can't do it. So if you have a friend that's doing it and figuring it out, it's kind of a slap in the face sometimes that, hey, why can't I figure this out?
Right. You look in the mirror and you're kind of like, you take it out on them that you're disappointed in yourself, if that makes any sense. You know what I'm saying? But being like an entrepreneur and starting it's not for everybody. Some people love, like for myself personally, the thought of like an I'm going to say office job, but the thought of like being in an office in a cubicle, like whenever I visit Nicole at her job, I like get sweaty. I'm like, Nicole, it's so quiet in here. People are just sitting down in front of a screen, typing away or whatever, or bringing files to each other or whatever. I can't handle that. But there are some people that's like, they thrive in that environment. So as far as like a business, some people are like, I kind of like the guaranteed check every other week, knowing exactly how much I'm going to make, working from this time to this time, and these are my duties. Whereas when you're an entrepreneur, it's you could have an awesome year. That doesn't mean the next year is going to be awesome for you.
No, I've worked entire years starting Remodel Works. I've worked entire years, got to the end of the year and made not $1 for myself.
Yeah.
And I look back and I'm like, wow, it's a whole year. There's multiple years like that.
Yeah.
So a lot of times people see you, right? Social media is kind of tricky, right? They see you, he's happy, he's doing this, he's traveling here and here. They really didn't see you sleeping on the office floor trying to figure out how I'm going to make payroll tomorrow. Mm-hmm. It's coming out of the account whether I have it in there or not. Like, I got to figure out how to get it in there, right? So they don't see that.
Right.
They don't see the long talks at night with my wife trying to get me through like really tough parts of the business.
Yeah.
You go from sell everything and move to a cave one day to this is the best part of my life and I'm loving what I'm doing the next day. It's funny, Dale and I talk probably almost every day, if not every day, every other day. And these are the conversations we have. We talk each other off the ledge constantly.
Right.
What are you dealing with today? This is what I'm dealing with. Okay, here's how we're going to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. You need that person. Mm-hmm. Dale's my person. He's that person I can call. I could call him right now. He'll answer that phone.
Yeah.
I will walk out of meetings if he calls me. If I'm in a meeting, it's not too super important. And he's calling me. I'll just walk out for a minute, take his call, and then come back in.
Yeah.
So it's important to have that person.
So now you went out of business officially after this?
2011, closed the company officially.
Yep.
And I said, okay, Dale, what do we do now? And Dale said, I'm going to buy a bakery down the Cape. Okay. He said, this lady has had it for 30 years. She's sick. She wants to sell it to me. And I said, Dale, can I be honest with you? He said, yeah. He said, I've been to cookouts at your house. The food's not good. He's like, he starts laughing and he says, listen, wait. He said, she has all the recipes. I'm just copying the recipes, but I'm going to do the marketing. I'm going to make it into something amazing, which he did. Which is Wolfie's Bakery down in Dennisport. And a lot of people that know the Cape know Wolfie's.
Yeah.
Because there's a line to the street every single day all summer. And then I started Remodel Works.
Yeah.
So back to, that's all I knew. Construction, At that point in my life, I had constant head trash of people, oh, I can get you this job. I had competitors say, come sell for me. We'll pay you this much, which was big numbers at that point because I was very skilled at selling jobs. We'll give you cars and gas money and cell phones. And it was very hard. And then you have, going home to, I wish you were a school teacher. And I wish, why don't you take this job up at the jail and all these different things. And you have to kind of battle it. Because in the end of the day, I said, that's not me. I'm not the guy in the desk. I probably would be the worst employee known to man. I don't want to listen.
Yeah.
I don't like authority. I don't like the way you want to do it. That's an entrepreneur.
Right.
I want to do it my way. I want to control my day. I want to come to Ramiro's podcast twice in a couple months. I'll come twice.
Yeah.
I'm just messing with you.
No, I know.
And then, so, that's the entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So I had to start Remodel Works with really no money. My mother drained her 401k, My mother-in-law at that time loaned me some money as well.
Yeah.
But, you look at that money and like it was gone within a month, of I had to build a brand new website, $5,000. Choom.
Yeah.
I had no credit. The credit was totally ruined from the company. I had to totally figure out ways to get a temporary credit card and all these things. And that initial money was gone. So I had to build it from the ground up. I'm thinking, I did $5 million last year. That means, I'll do 2.5 at least my first year. No, I think the first year, we did 500,000.
Wow.
Barely. None of the leads transferred. I had to rebuild everything. So it was a struggle. First year was a lot.
Yeah. Did you rehire any of the people that you pulled into that office that day and you were like, you're all gone, or did you have to hire all new people?
No, because now remember, I went from 27 employees to me.
Yeah.
I didn't have money to hire anybody. So I would sell the job. I would project manage the job. I mean, I did everything. I did the accounting. I did the marketing. I did all the sales calls. I did everything. So it was very humbling at that point, but it was needed. I needed to get set back to the ground roots to figure out what do we need, Sold our first job in May. It was the first job started in May. It was a basement remodel. And it was a doctor and a lawyer was the client, which a combination of the two is probably the worst two first clients you could ever have, right? Because they're very hard. And our process is we sign a design agreement where we get a retainer first. We design the whole project, and then it goes into build with a fixed price. So that was the whole process, right? Is give me the time to figure it out right down to the doorknob, and I will not change the price on you, which is very big in our industry because our industry is notorious for 20, 30% change order overruns
right.
with no explanation.
Here's
right?
the estimate and being like, actually, it's going to cost way more than that. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's because it's the rush to get into build.
Yeah.
You go into build with a bunch of allowances, and then every time we get to a new phase, it's more money because you didn't talk about anything.
Yeah.
So I kind of slow it down. It might take 6 weeks or more to develop a project and ready for build, but you have to pay to go through that process because it costs money to do that the right way. So when they signed a design agreement, I'll never forget, this project was probably $20,000 over budget when we got ready to go into builds, right? So I start with a budget range. When you get to the construction agreement, it's a fixed price. Sometimes, probably 90% of the times, it's more money, but it's because of the stuff they added. Like there was a very high-end audio system in this basement, and they changed the flooring, all these things, right? I'll never forget, I'm sitting there, and the wife did not want to do the basement. She's like, we're not doing it. Not doing it. It's over budget. Not doing it. Now I'm sitting there across the table. It's 7 o'clock at night. My truck, they're looking for it because they're going to take it, right? I have $100 in a checking account, right? My truck's, it's getting repoed any day, right? And I'm sitting there going, is this how it's going to go? My first project is not going to go into build, and they're literally fighting in front of me. All of a sudden, she leaves the room, and he looks at me, he goes, we're fine. I don't think we're fine, but okay. She comes back, throws the checkbook at him, and says, fine, it's your basement. Have fun. She walks out of the room, and he signed that check. Now, when you do a high-end project, the deposits are pretty big. It was a decent-sized project. It was probably, I think it was it was a $19,000 check. I'll never forget it, because that $19,000 was gone by the time I hit the account because I was behind on the truck payments. I was behind on this. You know what I mean? It just was enough money to get everything going. And that project, I didn't make $1 on. Broke even. Because I had to bring in a carpenter. He was terrible. I brought in a painter. He didn't do a good job. I had to hire another painter just to fix it. But the goal was that project had to be perfect when it finished, or the bad reviews and all these things, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just came out of a company that was doing $5 million a year, 27 employees, and we made money on all the projects, and the first project doesn't make money. It just goes to show that it was a new company.
Right.
You had to start over. So then 2012, we kind of chugged along, did some more jobs, did some more things. 2013 kind of hit another downturn part. Try to rebuild, and I was out of money again. And this one client, I had looked at 10 houses over a year period. They were looking at houses. I want to buy this one. Can you come look at it? I go look at it. Go look at it. Go look at it. I spent a year. Then I didn't hear from them for 2 months, and all of a sudden they said, "We're buying a house the street over. Will you come look at it?" I'm like, "Okay, we'll go look at it." And that project was $350,000, and that started Remodel Works on its way.
Wow.
Then I hired carpenters full time. And I just kept building it from there. But it was a roller coaster.
Yeah. That's why it's funny, because like a lot of the younger generation now, they'll see, you were talking about this earlier, they see your highlight reel, and they're like, I want to get there. Just skip ahead to that. But you need to go through the ups and downs and all that, because it's going to happen to everybody. No matter where you are, there's going to be times that you're going to fall 3 or 4 steps back. And like you being like, okay, I've been here before. I kind of know what mistakes I did. I'm going to adjust this. I know kind of how to get out of this hole. That's crucial, because if you just go from here to here and then you fall back a little bit, you're falling off a cliff backwards. You're like, I've never been here before. I have no idea how to get it. So it's as much as it was a struggle, it helped you grow.
It definitely did. I mean, the experience I went through with the first company, I used in the second company. Even though the first 2 to 3 years was brutal, I still, relied on that experience. The biggest thing I did was, no matter how much money I was losing on the job, or if somebody did a bad job, I just made sure it was right.
Yeah.
So our industry is notorious for, it cost me $6,000 to repaint that basement.
Jeez.
Our industry is not going to pay that money. They're going to figure out how to not pay that money. But I knew if I did not finish that first job perfect, that it was not going to continue. Mm-hmm. And that's really how I do all the projects, right? If there's something wrong, we just fix it and move on. There's no fighting. There's no arguing. We just fix it. Even if the guys make an error, we fix it. If they break a window in an accident, we fix it. Just keep going, move forward. And then you get to today, and we're back to, 15 full-time employees and very high volume and the best jobs of the industry now.
So at what point did you feel like you could kind of take a breath and you're like, all right, I'm good. I got some good momentum going.
It was 2015.
Okay.
So it was 3 years, about 3 to 4 years in, which is, it's funny how that works, right? I always tell people it takes 3 years to build a business, right? If you don't make it 3 years, you will not see the benefits of all the work. Right? So I always say, make it to 3 years, right? So it was about 3 to 4 years in. All of a sudden, the jobs kept coming in. We were profitable on jobs. And 2015 is when I hired my first project manager, Mike, who still works with me to this day, 10 years later. And Mike has seen a lot. Mike's seen the battles of up and down of running a company, in the goods and bads and stuff like that. But it comes down to we talk a lot. A lot of my talks with the team right now is a lot of negative things come up, right? We can't get this job approved. The homeowner's unhappy with this. This could happen, right? I don't like thinking ahead too far about this could happen. So a lot of my talks is, okay, what are we dealing with today? Mm-hmm. Right? A lot of people jump ahead. If this doesn't happen, we're not going to get the job and the town's going to deny it. And I go, whoa, slow down. You're spending energy on stuff that might never happen. I'm not thinking of that. We're doing this job. We have to get through this little thing, right? If you can't do that, if you can't compartmentalize certain things of stress, you will implode.
Yeah.
So that was, even when the company was doing bad, I wouldn't really think of all the bad stuff that could happen. I just kind of dealt with day to day.
Yeah.
Oh, I took care of that, or I got through that. Okay, next day. All right, I get through this. I get through that. Some things go away on their own. It's amazing. Like, you're thinking about them. It's like, oh, that's just resolved. Why am I even worrying about that? So I always think about it, right? I'm thinking ahead constantly, but I don't dwell on a maybe or this could happen, or because that'll drive you insane.
Yeah.
And you can't get through this stuff. I have, things coming from 10 different directions right now. If I did that, I'd be at home in a closet somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
So you can't do that. You got to kind of just take today. What are we working on today?
Right.
Forget about tomorrow. We don't even know if that's going to happen, but let's talk about today. Let's get through this and then move on.
Yeah. So at what point did you start branching out into other businesses?
So I always say, like, a lot of entrepreneurs, they love the starting of new things and new ideas, and I do too. I love it. I love the chase and the starting of new ideas and seeing if it can work. But sometimes you start too soon, right? Mm-hmm. So I always said, focus on the main business, put everything into it until it's really doing well, and then branch out. So about that same time, 2015, 16, okay, money's coming in, projects are running good, we're hiring employees. Okay, I needed to fix a major problem in my company, which was our cabinetry orders kept coming in wrong. Mm. We would design the whole thing, we're placing an order from a showroom, they're coming in wrong. I had 3 kitchens at once, they're all wrong. I'm like, and I went to Mike, who was working with me. I said, Mike, we got to fix this problem. We can't be doing this. We're designing the whole thing and we're giving it to somebody else and they're making all the money on the cabinetry, and then the whole thing's coming in wrong. So started calling cabinet company and said, I want to buy my cabinets direct from you. They said, we can't sell to you, we sell to the showrooms. Sell to the showrooms, sell to the showrooms. I'm like, okay. So I said to Mike, I think we're going to open a showroom. He goes, oh, no. I go, I think we're going to be a cabinet design and sales company. I think we're going to start another company. And he said, okay. And I said, above our stone company, there's a 1,500 square foot space. We're already bringing clients there to pick out their tile and their countertops. Let's test the model there. He said, okay. So we built a 1,500 square foot showroom, brought in the cabinet lines that wanted to partner with us, and we changed the name to Emily's Interiors, so they weren't selling to a builder. Mm-hmm. They were selling to a cabinet showroom, and that's how it started.
Who's Emily?
Interiors. Emily's my daughter.
Oh, no.
So at that point, she was 12. She's 21 now.
Yeah.
So Emily's Interiors is in its 9th year now.
Wow.
The first 2 or 3 years was just using it for our own purposes, a little bit of retail, and then about 4 years in, once we had it figured out, we turned the retail on, and we work for builders, interior remodelers, interior designers, other remodelers, do-it-yourselfers. Great program for do-it-yourselfers.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much an architecture firm now, 5 designers on staff, and we sell materials to complete the design. A little bit of a niche. There's not a lot of companies that do it. So we design it, the plans all the way to permitting. We can get it approved for you if you need help, and then we'll sell you all the materials to complete the design. Cabinetry, flooring, hardware, plumbing fixtures, things like that.
Did you have any issues with that business like you did the first time around, or you kind of like figured out your processes, I guess? So
that one, I'll be very honest with you, that one was a lot easier to get going. Mm-hmm. Because I had the money to invest into it.
Yeah.
So I didn't invest in other things yet at that point. I invested in a company that could help our own company first. And once money started coming in from that company, now you have 2 companies coming in. The tricky thing with that company is Remodel Works is such a big company now, and the jobs are so complicated. Like, sometimes Emily's doesn't get my full attention. And now, 10 years later, Mike runs Emily's because his background is really design.
Yeah.
So he helps me run it, but I don't have a lot of time to put into it.
Right.
So it kind of, it's growing slow.
Right. Well, I was going to ask that too. With multiple businesses, how do you, because like looking at it from the outside, you said 7 businesses, right? You're like, oh, okay, so just divide 100 by 7, and that's how it works. But I'm sure that's not how it works.
No, it really comes down to hiring a great team. So
Yeah.
that was the other thing I did over the years was, an entrepreneur years ago told me, you gotta get people. He was like an 80-year-old guy. He's like, just get good people. I'm like, okay, get good people. And he was right. You have to have a team, and they have to be somewhat better at certain things than you are, right? I'm a terrible project manager. I don't like it. I don't like dealing with subs anymore. I don't like ordering materials. I would order windows and they'd be wrong because I didn't have my full attention to it, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it. So hired the best project manager about 4 or 5 years ago, Joel. Joel runs all production with assistant project manager, Wendy, now. They run all production. I'm fully released out of production pretty much. I still involved in every project. I go visit every project and stuff, and I do a lot of the pricing for the project, but they run the actual project.
Right.
It takes a lot of stress off of me so I can focus on other things. Mike is running the design team at Emily's, so the designers work under Mike. So I meet with them once or twice a week, keep everything rolling. And then I have Dale. Dale does some of our online marketing and marketing, so he does a lot of the marketing, so that's kind of put on him. Christine is my executive assistant in the office. She does all the paperwork. She does all the billing. She does, without her, like she's off today, like forget it. My stuff's all messed up.
Yeah.
She's not there. So Christine runs the office. Anything that happens paperwork-wise, we need a logo, we need this, we need that. It's a million conversations a day, and she's just handling it. So now you have all these people. Then in the field, I have awesome carpenters, and those guys, Andy, Ben, Josh, Kyle, a couple of the younger guys now we have, right, is they are running the field and doing the work. So there's like layers now.
Yeah.
And it's funny is I can take a lot of time off now. And I do because I'd probably not be here today. I'd be in a stress hospital.
Yeah. So by the time, like, if an issue comes to you, it's like serious because you have a lot of systems in place to handle it.
Joel's the vice president of Remodel Works.
Yeah. When
I see his name on my phone, Joel is the typical, I'm not telling you what's going on. I got it. Don't worry about it, right? So if he calls, it's never good. I said, Joel, the other day I was kidding around. I said, Joel, when you call me once, can you just say, hi, it's Friday, have a great weekend, and just hang up? I said, because when you call, I know we're in trouble. Something's going on. Yeah. But yeah, involved in all decisions, hiring people as well, continue to build that team. And now that both companies are going, now I'm investing in other things. Mm-hmm. I've bought commercial buildings over the last few years. I invest in other companies, and I have a consulting company that's kind of my third company. Yeah. And so I'm able to do these other things because I have the team built now. Yeah, yeah. So once the project goes from design into build, I'm pretty much not involved in that project too much.
It's funny because I think a lot of people think like if they're going to like start a business that it's like you need to know, I mean, you do need to know obviously about every aspect of the business, but you don't, it's almost like being a parent. You don't want to be like the helicopter parent of your business. I was listening to a podcast, I forget who it was, and it was a guy, he had a business and he was talking about how he wanted to sell the business, and he had a potential buyer come visit to see how things ran. And, at the end, the guy, he was like, so do you want to buy the business? And the buyer said, no. He said, why not? He goes, we're making this much money, blah, 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 blah. And the buyer said, yeah, but I wanted to see how involved you personally were with the business. And they need you too much. You're here all the time, all week long, every day. I'm going to come back in like 3 to 5 years. I want you to start delegating and letting other people do the work. He said, because I can't have a business where like one guy is relied on for everything. Right. So long story short, you know, he's like, that's when he started hiring people and stuff like that. And 5 years later, he sold it for like, I don't know, 3 times as much as he originally wanted. But I think a lot of people have that thought of like, I need to be able to do everything. So it's hard to kind of separate, you know?
It's definitely hard to separate. I mean, you have to just keep working through it.
Yeah.
You know, you have to keep working through that.
So you were talking about how you had family too, because that's part of it. Yeah. Part of like when you're doing the business, you got to go home and be like, groceries going to be a little tight this. Yeah, my father-in-law told me a story about how he was like, I remember he had a business for a couple of years, and he said, I'll never forget one time I went to bed and he had my wife, her sister, and my mother-in-law, you know, and he's like, they're all sleeping. He goes, and I literally, like you were saying, he goes, I was just up all night staring at the ceiling going, okay, how am I going to pay for groceries this week? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? So it's like, it'd be different if it was like you as a young bachelor. It's just you that it's relying on yourself. But when you have a family, then like that stress kind of comes home a little bit. How was that?
I very, very honest. I have 2 older kids and I have 2 younger kids. Joey and Emily. Joey's 18. Emily is 21. Dom just turned 12. Leo just turned 7. My older kids got the brunt of dad is working way too much.
Yeah.
And I missed a lot. Tried to be at everything. Tried to do things like always coach their baseball teams and do stuff like that and try to be around. But they definitely, at the younger ages, mentally, I couldn't keep it all together. It was a lot.
Yeah.
When I started Remodel Works, I made a lot of changes, though. Emily was probably around 12. Joey was like 5 or 6 when I started it. Dom and Leo were not in the picture at that point. I said, I'm done working Saturdays. I'm not working any more Saturdays. I'm not going to a lot of night meetings. I'll do night meetings on Tuesdays and Thursdays. If somebody can't get out of work or take time off, that's the days. It was hard at first because a lot of people demand you to be there on their schedule, right?
Yeah.
But I said, you know what? I said, I'm not willing to give my time anymore to people that might not even use us, right? So great story. Guy calls, very big project. He said, this was probably maybe 5 or 6 years ago. He said, can you come on a Sunday? I said, never. I said, you will never see me on a Sunday. I said, I have kids in sports. I always use the thing, I have kids in sports. I'm on a field somewhere every weekend. I said, I just don't. He said, what about a Saturday? I said, same thing. I just don't do my appointments on Saturday. And he said, sounds like you don't want the work. Maybe you don't need it. I said, with all due respect, I said, I would love to help you on your project. I said, but you're right. I don't need your project. I said, I'm just not willing to give you my kids' time on a maybe. And he said, what do you mean a maybe? I said, you're not a client. You're a maybe. We generate 600 leads a year for Remodel Works. I only do 15 to 20 projects a year. So it's a mathematical equation, right? I have to go through 600 to get 20. It's a lot of time. And I'm just not willing to give them that time anymore.
Yeah, that's like Navy SEAL selection. 200 guys and like 10 make it.
I mean, it's a lot of, it's a lot. Some of those calls are, it's just not a good fit for us or something we don't do. Or,
right, right.
But it's a lot of calls to go through, a lot of meetings to go through. But I'm just not willing to do it on the weekends. That's my family time now. At
what point were you? That was after Remodel Works. Like, were you doing that with the first business? Because there has to be yeah. I was gonna say there's.
That's why I was literally, I was there all the time.
Yeah.
I'd be there at 8:00 at night. I'd be there Saturday all day. I'd be there Sunday doing meetings. I mean, it just consumed me.
Yeah.
I said to Dale at that point, I said, Dale, we don't own a company. We're an employee for this company. Because if we don't show up tomorrow, it's not happening.
Right. Like I was saying before, like
that's
it's
the difference. Like
you need to do everything.
I was so impressed on volume, right? our industry has magazines, right? Top 500 remodeler in the country. It's based off volume. I hate that model. I didn't submit RemodelWorks into that anymore. I'm done with that world. I don't care if you're doing $10 million a year. Because if you're not running a profitable business, it's a waste of $10 million.
Right,
you can make the same amount or more at 5. And I think that's where, any business is they get stuck on this number. Mm-hmm. What are you doing? What are you doing? I've saw companies doing $2 million a year making more than a lot of people doing $10 million a year.
Yeah.
So that doesn't impress me anymore, what the volume is. Companies, you're not really a company in my eye until you're doing $1 million a year. You kind of, not really, and that's when you start hiring employees and you start running into financial knowledge and have to run a business.
Yeah. So
I get impressed when people get to $1 million and then they're running a profitable business, and that's how they should be judging businesses, not on what your sales were.
So because one of your businesses is like consulting people who are starting businesses or
Yes.
who are in business, what would you say is the most recurring mistake that people make when starting a business?
A lot of talking and not enough doing. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. You could talk all day.
Yeah.
I invested in a company. I make mistakes still, right? You believe in people. You think everyone's like you, right? And you're going to do great. But back to that ratio, right? 20% of people can do it, right? The other 80% can't. That person couldn't do it. It took me a little bit of time, and all of a sudden a light bulb went off. I'm like, oh no, they can't do it.
Yeah.
They're not willing to put the time in and get uncomfortable. When you're in a business, right, you have to do some things that are uncomfortable. Making a phone call you don't want to make.
Yeah.
Showing up at a business you don't want to show up at. Market yourself. Get out and network and meet people. Some people can't do all those things.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one. A lot of talking, a lot of doing, not doing. And then it's not understanding your financial numbers, right? I'm like a mathematician now. It's like, okay, you bring in this much money, you have this much overhead, and this is what you're left with. It's pretty self-explanatory, but people do not sit there and do it out. Mm-hmm. So
they guesstimate a lot, probably.
They guesstimate
right?
a lot.
Yeah.
So then, it's kind of like the widget theory. Okay, you're selling a widget for $100, right? Well, how did you get to $100? How do you know it's not supposed to be $110? Well, $100, that's what I feel it should be. It doesn't mean anything, You should understand that I have the materials I need to buy. I have the labor to create the widget. And then I have my overhead. And then I have to make a profit. The number's probably 120, but you're selling it at 100.
And they're doing it because probably they're scared they won't get the business.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's head trash. And a lot of people, so I spent a lot of money over the years in sales training, prior to RemodelWorks. Mm-hmm. That was some of the investment I did make in myself early on. Was I knew I was having trouble selling. And I went to a very extreme selling organization, and I spent like $100,000. Me and Dale spent like $100,000 on just sales training. We went for like 2 years.
Jesus.
Yeah, because it's you ever hear they say need for approval, right? You telling me no makes me very uncomfortable. I don't want to hear that, right? For me, I want the no from you as fast as possible so I can get the yes from him. No, yes. Tell me no so I can move on.
So it's not, I'm going to convince your no to I'm going to turn your no into a yes. It's like, no, all right, I'm out, moving on to someone else.
It's a numbers game,
Yeah, you'd rather guarantee over a maybe. You know what I mean? Because why are you going to convince someone if they're like, I get that. That makes total sense.
Get the no as quick as possible, and then so you have time to move on, right? So that's really it. A no is as good as a yes in my world because I'm trying to get to somebody who really needs us, who wants to work with us. And if I'm wasting time with somebody who's kind of wasting your time,
Yeah.
and is really always been a no, but you're trying to make it into a yes, I just move on from that, you know.
I think sales is something that you need sales skills in life pretty much because no matter what you do, you're selling yourself.
Right.
Even if you're not doing, like, if you're not running a business, owning a business, starting a business, you're still selling yourself to the person that you're working for.
Right.
You know?
So, like, back to what Moose said about needing that person in your life. Like, my wife is also that person. Like,
Yeah.
she game changed my entire life. Business,
She's fantastic.
family, everything.
Yeah.
And I kid around because Ramiro and I, back to sales, we married up. Okay?
Yeah.
So when you see our wives and what they do and everything, you're like, how did you do
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
How'd you know, and it's kind of, it's funny. It's
Like,
a
those
joke.
guys must be packing heat.
There's something,
Yeah.
right? So when people see that, they're like, what's going on here? There's something going on. But it's my wife is such a boss in anything that she does. She doesn't accept mediocre from me. And when you go home to that,
Yep.
that's like, and it's not aggressive. It's just her way of life.
Yeah.
She's not aggressive person. She's not mean by any chance, right? She just expects it. It's like, there is no other way to do it.
Right.
That's what she's expecting, you know? And she was raised in a family that had a dad that was a very successful entrepreneur. So she's not really impressed by me sometimes. You know what I mean? She's like, I did this my whole life.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute, look what I'm doing. She's like, okay. You're doing good, you know? But it's coming home to that positiveness, the reassurance of,
Yeah.
you know, she's just so strong. A great story. During COVID, right? Everything shut down. I own an office building in the center of Shrewsbury, and that's where our main office is. And I have like 5 other tenants in there. You know, hair salon, esthetician, massage therapist. You know, they were all in there. During COVID, all out of business.
Yeah.
Right, so the building's empty. I got no more renters. The business is kind of closed for a couple weeks, and I'm home sitting on the couch in an absolute, like, we're going out of business.
Yeah.
Because that, you know, memories of the first company going down, it was resurfacing.
What do you do in that situation? Do you say to them, like, I need the rent no matter what? Or do you kind of like pause it? I mean, you're still paying, you're still eating it and paying.
No, I gave them breaks. I gave
Yeah.
them breaks while it was going on, and there's nothing you could do. You know,
Yeah.
some of them continued to pay to hold their spot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some of them were just gone. They were out of business, gone.
Wow. Yeah, because those are all like people to people businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some knew that spot, like, I've owned the building 7 years and I've never had a vacancy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just such a good spot. They knew if they didn't pay, they would lose their spot.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of them continued to pay.
Yeah.
But I remember being at home and Amy's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know, just hanging out sitting on the couch, you know? She's like, no, get in that office. Keep it going. I'm like, babe, there's nobody there.
Yeah.
There's no employees. There's the building's empty. She's like, that doesn't matter. She's like, you're not going to drape around around the house all day. Get in there. So I did. I'd go to work every day. And I'd keep everything going. I'd just because there was still people calling.
Yeah.
Looking for new stuff and still kind of, you know, and we were trying to strategize because I had houses ripped apart. Wow. You know, I would call clients and just talk through, like, I know, you know, your town is not letting us continue. Can we, we're not going anywhere. We'll be there when they let us. And some towns would slowly release us into their house. And we did some crazy stuff. Like, I remember this house in Wellesley. I had this family of 4, just their whole house ripped apart. And I said, listen, I'll deliver the blue board to get the plastering going at 6 a.m. and we'll deliver it into the house while everyone's sleeping because the neighbors were just calling on us.
Really?
Every day. If someone showed up the house to do work, the neighbors would call the building department. The building inspector would call me and say, Joe, no, we're going to shut your whole job down.
Wow.
It was a very tough time.
Yeah.
So we were trying to do whatever we could to keep things moving. You had to be very creative at that point, you know. But Amy was get to work. That was, you know.
Couple lessons, Moose. One, you need a supportive partner in life.
Yes.
And not just like, there's different versions. Well, first of all, there are some partners that you go home and you're like, I had a bad day at work because of whatever. And they think they're being supportive, but it's not. They're like, don't take that shit. You call them up and blah, 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 blah. And they're kind of like firing you up. And that's not a good supportive. The supportive is what he's talking about, Amy. And sometimes they'll also tell you kind of like what you don't want to hear. Yeah. Like, you know, maybe they were right because of this, and it sucks to hear, but you'd rather hear from your partner, you know, before things get out of hand. And another lesson, too, is that whenever you're laying on the couch, a woman will never let you just do that. COVID or not. You're laying on the couch, they're like, why?
I literally sat in a chair, and I have this room in the house that's mine. I have a TV, comfortable chair. I just sit in there. Once in a while, I'm in there, I fall asleep. Amy's sitting in the chair next to me eating a Ninja Creamy. If anyone knows what that is, it's a plastic container. I hear the spoon clanking in there, right? At first I heard it and I fell back asleep. I heard it again. I looked at her and I go, you hate that I'm sleeping right now, do you? She goes, what do you mean? I go, nobody clanks a spoon like that. Like, you don't clank a spoon like that. She goes, we got to leave. We got somewhere to be. I'm like,
it's a joke, but it's realistic. Any man who lays on the couch and falls asleep, it sets something off in the woman where they're like, I can't. There's something you could be doing. Wake your ass up.
He has peace.
Yes.
Damn it.
By the way, they have the greatest story of how they met. Plenty of fish.
I know, yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Amy just getting bombarded by dudes. And Joe getting like a small ceiling leak of women.
Oh, yeah, no.
But they got together.
Yeah.
And then, after they started hitting it off, this is going to sound bad on the surface, but it's not bad. Joe paid Amy to hang out with him.
Did not.
What do you mean?
He could tell you.
So at that point, back to things are going well, right? The business is doing well. And Amy was working a desk job, you know. And I'm in the point of my life where it's like, if I didn't want to work Fridays, I didn't work Fridays. Like in the summer, like we'd go away, we'd go to Newport, we'd do whatever. Because I was doing good at that point when I met her. She's like, I don't have any vacation time left next week. No, I can't do that. Oh, this isn't gonna work. I said, how about this? How much do you make? I'm gonna put you on payroll. She goes, what do you mean? I just add you on payroll there, and then we can go and do whatever we want. So
that's
what you do.
That's kind of baller though. That's not really paying to hang out. That's like gangster. That's like a real gangster move. Like, let me pay you.
No.
For your time.
No, but honestly though, it's not a desperate way. He's like, I'll put you on my payroll.
No, once you like get into the book.
Yeah,
it makes sense. But the headline.
The headline is funny, but that's a gangster move right there.
Yeah, I mean, with the thing with Amy though, I had been dating for probably 4 or 5 years before that.
Oh, okay.
When I met her, I knew right away. It was weird. I had never was going to get remarried. I never was having any more kids. Leo, we have together now. He's 7 now. I had no plans to continue like another family and all this thing, you know. And when I met her, within a month, I'm like, wow, she's not going anywhere, you know. And that was just something we talked about the other night. Ramiro was loving that.
I'm like, wait, you did what? And he goes, it sounds worse than it is.
Listen, I mean, hey, I agree. When you know, you know. I do have a question though. It sounds like I'm deviating from the relationship topic, and I'm not.
He is. I've been watching his hands. His hands are in his pocket, Ramiro. The whole time. So he
has a remote control to shut off the recording any second now. Self-destruct button.
No, I just know. I wanted to ask this before I forgot. I've always said this. I've always said when I own a home one day, and I'm in the financial standpoint to make that leap. Here's how my mind works, and you tell me if this makes sense. Unless, I mean, I do plan on making a lot of money, but like, unless you are a multimillionaire, in my head, if you can acquire land or if you can acquire a crappy house, let's say the house is going for 600K. It's not the best house. It's going to need a total remodel, but it's sitting on a nice piece of land. Good size yard, good size area, good neighborhood. Yeah. In my head, I'm like, all right, if I'm going to be in debt regardless, if I'm taking out a hefty loan regardless, why wouldn't I just build? Or why wouldn't I take this crappy home, live in it for a little bit, full remodel, or just knock it down? Or, I know Massachusetts, it's really hard to get land, but let's just say I acquired a piece of land. Why do you think that's a route that people should be taking? Because I feel like that's common in places like New Jersey or like Pennsylvania, maybe where the land is a bit more accessible. I don't know.
Yeah,
you tell me.
you could think of it different ways. I know you live in Newton now, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to buy a piece of land in Newton, right?
No.
Half an acre is $1 million, right? So, you got to find an area that you like. I would definitely go the route of, if you can find, even if it's a rundown house in the 3s or 4s, that's typical to a piece of land right now, right? 3 to 4, right? If I bought a piece of land in Shrewsbury and I want to build a house on it, you're going to spend about $350, maybe $400,000 before you do anything. So if you can find a house in that situation, right? So here's a great example, right? I can do whatever I want. I've built my own houses over the years. I built 2 houses for myself back in the day. We owned a house in Paxton. It was time to move to Shrewsbury in 2020. And my wife said, "Are you going to build a house?" And I said, "No." I said, "I'm going to buy us a house and turn it into what we need it to be, because the money doesn't make sense. I'm not going to spend $400,000 and then we're going to put $1 million into this house by the time we're done." I said, "I'm just going to buy a house." We bought our house in the 8th somewhere, and now we've put a ton of money into it, and now the thing's worth double that now. So it's like, I think the way the housing market is, it's going to continuously slowly go up. So if you can get in now, right, 10 years from now, that house will have appreciated to a point where maybe you're making more money. Then you could turn around and take a loan out on that house and turn that house into your forever home and not be in this huge debt. You know, the battle of, do we rent, do we own a house type of thing. I'm kind of more on the buy the house. I know a lot of like entrepreneurs online are like, don't buy a house. It's a worst investment ever. Yeah. At the end of the day, right, it's like, what are you going to put the money into, right? It's the best return on investment is putting it into a house. You're living in it. Maybe you're raising a family in it. And then you can turn around and sell it for more 10 years from now. You can't do that with a car.
A lot of those, not you, but a lot of like serial contractors love to do that. It's like, you never know where they're like living anymore. It's like they get a home, live there for 6 years, remodel it, sell it, boom, and they just...
That's a different business model. That's after 2 years, you don't pay capital gains on a house. So a lot of builders will do that purposely. They'll live in the house, put some money into it, do a lot of the work themselves. The house appreciates, and now they're taking $200,000-$300,000 out of that house tax free. Do it again. That's a whole business plan.
That's a lot, though.
It's a lot of work, but that's a whole business plan, and I have a lot of friends that do that constantly.
Yeah.
But because there's not too many things you can take that equity out tax free.
So let's say I came to you. I know you're not you're in this world adjacently. But like, let's say I came to you. I was like, all right, Joe, I found a shitty house.
Yeah.
It's running me $400K. It's in Wakefield. It's sitting on a nice piece of land. What's the first tip you're gonna give me? I'm gonna say, Joe, I don't like the way it looks. I'm gonna have to move in because I need a place to live for now, but I want this to look completely different. Pretend I'm blind. What would be your best piece of advice to somebody in that position?
If you were a blind moose, I'd probably put you in a home first. I don't know if
I don't know if you should buy a house. Yeah, if I can't see where I'm living.
I'm teasing you. Well, there's different ways that people now. If you're single, you're going to have a different approach to that house than if you're in a relationship, right? So if you're in a relationship, most likely your significant other is going to want to come up to that house and they want it to look pretty, right? And they probably want the kitchen and baths to be pretty. So it's kind of like, if you're single, I'm going to say put the money into the kitchen and bath, first, because you're going to live in there, and then slowly do some other things, I guess I don't fully understand like your direction of that and what you're trying to do, but it depends on your budget and how much money you have to put into it, right? A lot of times when someone buys a house, they're putting 20% down, or they're buying the house and they have mortgage insurance on it, so the monthly payment's a lot. So sometimes there's not a lot of money to put into that house. So I usually want to know what the budget is and what do we have to work with, and then I can kind of direct you. If you say, hey, I have to put this much money down on the house, I have $100,000 left. What do I do? It's okay. Maybe we reside the house so it looks nice. So you're coming home every day to a nice home. It's a positive, like it makes you feel good when you come home and you're looking at something nice, right?
Yeah.
Even if the inside isn't done yet, that's a good positive place to be, right? And then you focus on kitchen and bath. It's typically your first thing, and then flooring, painting, things like that. I tell my friends, like, I've been doing this my whole life. And a lot of my friends do not call me for advice. I don't know why until it's too late, right? I get the call, we're in trouble. So-and-so's doing our project and we're in trouble. I always say, why don't you call me at the beginning, right? So a great example, a friend of mine, he's handy, called me, says, Joe, I want to build a house. How can I build it myself with your help? It's a big undertaking. I said, but if you're open to it, I said, my consulting firm, you can hire me by the hour, and I will coach you through the entire thing, right down to who to hire for every trade. And he said, great, let's do it. So I got him through the land purchase. We designed the house for him. We just finished the first round of designs for the house. We did it all in 3D. So he owns the land. The house is designed. Now the next stage of the consulting is I'm putting lists together of where he needs to buy all the materials, siding, roofing, doors and windows, all these different things, so he can just stop making calls to get estimates and things like that. He might do a little bit of the work himself and things like that.
Yeah.
He might buy some of the cabinetry or flooring and stuff from us, right? So I'm coaching him through this house, which is pretty big undertaking, but time is not a problem with him. He has the time to put into it, so he's retired and he's gonna put the time into it. So there's a lot of different ways that, if you're able to take it on without hiring a company, that's the best way to do it. Mm-hmm. Because you're basically paying a company like mine, to do the work. We're taking the equity, mm-hmm. That you could have built, sweat equity.
So once the movie's done, we're calling Joe. Once the movie's made, the money's in the account, we're calling Joe.
To make your house?
To make the house.
All right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, what about for a business? Let's say somebody comes to you and goes, Joe, I want to start a business. Literally, what's the first thing I should do? Like, how much money should I save up? What should I do?
I try to ask a lot of questions, like my first meeting with a client in that world is I'll sit for an hour, talk about, what's your experience? What are you doing now? Right? What do you like? Usually people have a business in mind. Like,
yeah.
Okay, I want to start this business. I usually ask why. What's your experience in that business?
Wait, actually, sorry, I have a fun game. Let's do what you're saying right now, okay? Right over here.
Okay.
Joe.
Yes.
I'm interested in opening up a coffee business.
Don't do it.
I want to open up a coffee shop. I think coffee's
That'll
very
be $10,000.
I think coffee's
Don't
very
do it.
I think coffee's very trendy right now. It's all over social media. People will spend $6 to $7 on a latte. What do you think?
I think it's a great idea. I think you should talk to my friend Dale, who sells Wolfie. He sells a Wolfie's package for new businesses. So it's an entrepreneurship package. Basically, he sells you the name with the processes all the recipes and everything to be successful right out the gate.
Like a franchise type of situation?
Franchise. So he's got about 10 of them right now
Really?
that are probably going to open in this model. Every time someone brings up a business that they want to do, I'm trying to figure out how can we get there the fastest way with the least amount of failures and the least amount of money. Failures cost too much. So you got to, hire a consultant right away. People try to go down this road on their own and they have no idea what they're doing. Right down to, like, call this lawyer to set up the business. Like, they don't do any of that stuff, right? So hire a consultant. And then, like in your situation, I would hire Dale. I'd pay the franchise fee. I'd go right out of the gate because he's already figured it out. He figured out where to get the food. He figured out where to get the coffee from. He figured out what price you're supposed to sell the coffee at. How do you know what to even sell it at? He already knows. Now, you launch that business and you're paying him monthly, which his monthly fee is very reasonable. Mm-hmm. You're paying him monthly to be a partner. Dale, this happened. I don't know what to do. You're going to do this. It's not maybe. No, you're going to do this because he's already done it. Mm-hmm. He's already failed. He's already figured it out. In that world, very easy to get you launched within 6 months.
And what do you think how much money would you just need if you were like, okay, I want to...
It depends on the space, right? Yeah. So we need a space, right? Some spaces are a company that failed. Everything's there. You can go in, add some new equipment for baking that you would need for a coffee shop or whatever type of coffee shop you want to open. You'll need some equipment. You'll need to paint it, make it into your style, those type of things. That's a less of an investment, right? Now you go to a blank slate, it's just an empty spot. You're going to need a lot more money to build that out because you're building the counters, you're putting the flooring in, you're doing all the electrical. There's a lot of codes. So you can go from $100,000 space conversion to a $500,000 space conversion in a very quick amount of time.
Yeah.
So the space is very important. If you get lucky and find one that didn't really make it or they want to sell out of it, that's your best bet.
And how long do you think with this model that you're talking about, how long before I can expect to make a profit?
It would take you a 6-month turnaround to build out the space, to get it ready. Within 6 months of that, you should be making money. In that model.
Yeah.
Now, you go down the road of trying to figure it out yourself, you're 2-3 years in.
Yeah.
So what is it worth?
Right.
The space is the tricky thing. But back to doing things that would make somebody uncomfortable, right? I go to this certain coffee shop every day. I love the space. Man, this would be great. I wish I owned it. Oh, you own it? Oh, great. Hey, how you doing? Can I ask you a question? Great. Yeah. You like it and everything? I hate this business. Because you asked a question, it leads into this, and now you can sell them. Well, I've always wanted to own this business. I'll sell it to you. How much?
That's the kid with the coffee shop we had. Yeah, that's
Right.
literally what happened.
Like
How
a
much?
20-year-old kid do that.
How many people are going to ask that question? Probably not very many, right?
Right.
That's doing something that's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in the part of my life where I don't care what the answer is.
Yeah.
If you don't care what the answer is, you get a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
The other kids, my kids, one of my sayings is don't take the no, right?
Mm-hmm.
That guy said no. Okay. Keep asking questions. Question, right? Get to the yes, right? So it's like not taking no for granted, right? If you don't ask a question, the answer is always no, no matter what. So I'm in the part of my life where I'm like, I'm just going to ask that question and see what happens. Maybe it sticks, maybe it doesn't.
Right.
But I'm going to go to the other coffee shop and I'm going to ask the same question. You do that 10, 15 times, all of a sudden you have somebody that Can't wait to get out of this thing.
Right. Or they'll be like, hey, listen, I'm good. I enjoy this, but I got a guy
Right.
that has been complaining to me.
Right.
You know, give him a call, or I can make the introduction.
Right. Now, if you're working with a consultant like me, I'm helping negotiate the deal.
Yeah.
Not you, who has no experience negotiating the deal. The guy says, I want $100,000 for the business. You come to your friends or whoever and say, I need $100,000. I need $100,000. I need $100,000. You don't need $100,000. You need $10,000. And you're going to ask, why do I need $10,000? Because you're going to make him finance the other 90, because he's never getting $100,000 from somebody. So we're going to negotiate with this guy. Hey, what if we gave you $10,000 down and we gave you this much a month until the rest of it's paid? I'll take that deal. Done.
Yeah.
Now you call Dale. Dale, I have the space. We're into it for $10,000. Plus we got to make it into Wolfie's. I'm going to pay your franchising fee. Now I'm into a whole space for a third the money.
Yeah. That's like, what's that? Seller financing they call it?
Seller financing.
Yeah.
75% of businesses will do it just to get out.
Yeah.
And I know because we've done it multiple times.
Well, now, what are your thoughts on people who, you know, buying, they call them like boring businesses. If you're like, I'm not really interested in this, but like I heard like, you know, a storage unit or what else do people consider like boring businesses? I don't know, vending machines. Like, it's not my passion, but it's something. What do you think about that?
I'm not a huge fan of just throwing money into the wind.
Yeah.
You know, there's got to be some reasoning for it, right? So back to my mathematical equations, okay? Let's take the vending machines, right? Okay. I need $100,000 to get into it. I'm just using numbers, right? I need $100,000 to get into it. Once I invest it, I get this much back monthly, okay? And I have to put this much time in it to get it. That's the part that people don't do. They don't think about, is that a good use of the $100,000, right? So, great example. Right now, high interest, you know, accounts will pay on that $100,000 pays $4,000 a year in interest, right? If it's not going to make more than $4,000 in a year, do not do it, because I'll just let the money sit. So I do hard money flip investments. So when people want to do a flip, I'm the bank. And they'll come to me with the deal, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing that deal for that. I'm like, I'll just let the money sit in the bank. I'm gonna give it to you for this much interest if you want to do it, because it's gonna be worth it. The money's just sitting there. I'm not gonna move it unless it's 3 times what I'm making or more.
Yeah.
So it's all math. You got to do a lot of math, and you got to do spreadsheets and try to figure these things out and look at it and say, that's a good use of that $100,000.
Yeah.
These are the things I didn't do before. I just, you know, oh, we're going to do this.
Yeah. That's how I fucked up when I had a laundromat at first. I had a laundromat. I just wanted to learn about business. Got a laundromat.
Yeah.
It was like self-service, and I hired people, and I built it up, and I started doing kind of like wash, dry, fold, and built it up, and I started doing delivery to some businesses. And then I got bored because I was like, the fun part was the building it up almost. And then after that, I'm like, oh, I think I have to have some sort of like passion for laundry to grow the business more than this. And where I also messed up is that I was renting the building. Everyone says, yo, you got to buy the building.
Yeah,
and that's where I
better
messed
if you
up
own
too.
the building, obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
But sometimes it takes time to do that, right?
Yeah.
So like,
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
I have like zero interest in like being a business owner.
Really?
Like none.
I mean, a lot of people don't, and it's good that you know that.
Like I don't want to be like I have like ideas, but like the more I talk to like business, and like I'm like, that's just not something I want to
Yeah.
take on personally.
So the coffee shop is out there. I thought you were about to run out of here. And
No,
Jeez,
no,
I thought we were doing
I had
a
a-
coffee
I had a
shop.
perfect
I've
name.
always
That's
known-
Moose
calling Dale
Piss.
right out of here.
Moose, oh yeah, you're real creepy.
And just
Such
have
an
a design,
asshole.
like the logo will be a moose
And pissing.
and pissing into a coffee cup, but
You
it's
know
like
what?
brown.
That'd be like a liquor company. I can see that for like if I had like a whiskey, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, I've always toyed with the idea of a coffee shop because I think I could execute it, especially in an area like this. And especially nowadays with the trend of coffee shops and matcha and all that stuff like really booming right now. Like I see it in my head. But then it's like hearing your stories and other people, I'm like, I'm not that invested in it mentally where I want to deal with the stresses. And that's something, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah.
A lot of people can't like say that, to be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. You're the first person I've heard that in a long, long time. Because people want to do it. They feel like they can do it. And then they get to that, 3 months in, and you've taken other people's money and you've spent all this thing, getting it going. And then you're just not going to put the time into it. I mean, you have to be willing to literally sleep on the floor if it takes it to get it going. If you can't mentally get to the point of I'm doing whatever it takes to get this to work, it's not going to work.
Yeah. And I think I have that for other aspects and things I want to achieve, but to be a business owner, like to me, that's just not something where I'm like, I would want to get to like that level. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just comes down to like you have to be wired a certain way.
Yeah. And I think you also have to be like, what's the word? Like you have to be like interested. I don't even know. Like with your laundromat thing, like you were like, all right, I'm just trying to learn the business aspect of this and like make some money. When it got to the point though, where it was just like overwhelming, you were like, I don't even give a shit about laundry. You're like, you know what I mean?
I really didn't. But you know what's funny is that like in retrospect, I was doing, it wasn't because I didn't really equate it with laundry. I guess laundry was like the last thing I cared about. In retrospect, I was doing good because there was one down the street that went out of business, which would bring me more business. So by the time I sold it, it was doing good. But I was just like, I really don't care about this. I also at the time got divorced and was like, all right, I'm cutting out anything that I don't need to do that I don't like doing. So that was one of the things that I cut out.
The passion thing is so important.
Yeah, because that'll keep you going. That's what'll when you're sleeping on the floor and you're like, that is what's going to keep you going.
Right.
You know.
But at this phase of my life, right, my passion I know is in business in general.
Yeah.
So like, I'm involved in a coffee company. I'm an investor in a coffee company, but I don't even drink coffee. But I have a passion for business, marketing, and getting that going.
So your perspective is like, you're looking at it from a different perspective that excites you.
I'm looking at it from product. This is what it's going to cost to make it. This is what it's going to cost to sell it. And this is what we're going to make. And that's the passion. It's almost like, it's somewhat of a game when you get to the level of understanding the business so good. It's a game. And it's a very exciting game. And you have to be very risky too, because you're going to get burned.
Yeah.
So, but there has to be no fear of the burn, because you could get burned 4 times, and that one time is like you're on a beach somewhere.
Yeah.
Did you ever thought about being a talent manager? Because, like, honestly, like, I could see this avenue going in the perfect direction.
You want to be his coffee?
I was gonna say, if you want, I'll buy.
Man, I had you in a coffee shop with Dale.
Yeah.
I was gonna leave here and call Dale and say, I got your next place.
No, I'm being so serious. Like it's exactly what you said. I see the vision clear as day for me, executing properly. I could even see multiple. Like, I can paint a picture for you. Yeah. I just know once it gets to that point where it's like not bringing in money that month.
Yeah.
A problem happens. Espresso machine broke. I can't get the vendor. I have to shut down. I already know mentally I'm going to be like,
do you have trouble dealing with stress?
Oh, no. I just think it goes back to passion. It's like something I would like to do, and I think I could do successfully, but it's like I know me, and when I start something, I give it my all, and if it's not something I really care about, I feel like when I get to that point, I'm going to be like, what the hell am I even doing this for? Like, I don't care enough. Like, if it's something I do care a lot about, it's like, yeah, like, I'll sleep on the floor, I'll bite the bullet, I'll deal with that stress, like I'll work through those motions, but it's something you really want to do. The coffee idea, like I've said, I know I could execute that very well.
Yeah.
But how bad do I want it? How much do I care about it? That's the other level. To me, I'll make this argument with you. To me, I think that's more important. Hard work and diligence, I think if you have that, you can be successful in anything. It's longevity.
Yeah.
Do you even give a shit about what you're doing?
It comes down to competitiveness too, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't like losing.
Yeah.
So whether I was playing baseball or I don't care if I'm playing horseshoes in the yard, I'm gonna win, right? And if I'm not winning, I'm not happy, right? So that's in business too. So now this isn't working, and it makes me so mad that I think that fuels it. You have to have passion, right? Passion for me comes from like, I don't want to fail ever again. I went through it. I know what it feels like. I'm not going back there. And now I'm going to do whatever it takes to never see that again. So when it starts to happen, there's a burning desire in me to win. And if you don't have that, you shouldn't be owning your own business.
Exactly.
And that's it.
I agree.
All right, let's go to some fun facts. Tell us a fun fact about yourself.
Fun fact about myself.
What's your zodiac sign?
I dropped this on Romero the other night. He had no clue. He invited me to an MMA fight, and we're sitting there, and I had told Nicole, and Nicole goes, "Do you know that Joe is ranked in Muay Thai?"
You?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And Romero goes, "No way." I'm like, "Yep. I technically am ranked in Muay Thai.
Love it.
I love Muay Thai. My body does not love Muay Thai." And I did over 300 sessions in probably a 2.5 to 3 year period. And at the end of it, I was so injured. It was bad. I was literally limping into the office on Fridays after sparring, because the sparring was 6 to 7 in the morning on Fridays.
Yeah.
Limping into the office. Like literally close the door of my office and sit in the chair and go, "What am I doing to myself?" I think I'm too old to do it, because you're sparring against, I'm turning 48 this year. One of my good friends there, 28 years old, was a linebacker.
Yeah, yeah.
He's 28 years old. He's 260 pounds, and he's throwing his foot over my head. You can tell somebody as much as you want to, hey, this is supposed to be light sparring.
It's tough, man.
Light sparring didn't equal anything when you are super competitive, right?
Right.
Broken toe, my hip was racked, just too much. But that's a fun fact about me, is I am ranked in Muay Thai. I absolutely love MMA.
Yeah.
And I love Muay Thai.
I want to get in a boxing ring with him.
Ooh, that'd be interesting.
I used to do Muay Thai.
Boxing. We're not gonna do no
When
Bruce Leroy
I
stuff.
do my training right now, what I'm doing Friday is my boxing day. So
there you go.
I'm not just sitting there doing that, my friend.
I think a charity match, Remodel Works can sponsor
Yeah.
it.
I'll sponsor it right now.
It's funny when you talk about like sparring and stuff, because that's how it always, like, you always go like, hey, we're just gonna go light. We're just gonna go light. But you eventually, if you do it enough, you find like that one guy who you guys are kind of like matched up equally, and you have this unspoken, we're gonna kick the shit out of each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Call Joe Carr. He can get that set up.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
ring, you got
Joe
everything.
Cav, yeah.
Kev, yeah, you have
Go to Combat
everything.
FC.
Right?
Me, not Combat FC. You see, we can't
No,
take it to that level.
what I'm saying is you already have somebody that has the ring and has the setup and has everything. Celebrity, you guys know a bunch of people. Turn it up. Mm-hmm. I'll sponsor that.
But I just want to get in a round with you. We can get other people to jump in later. I just want one round in you. See what happens.
He has all this like passive aggressiveness.
I'll Vaseline my knuckles up like. Anyways,
I got another fun fact about Joe. Hates animals. Hates.
Well, you like steam them out?
No. I own no. One of my companies is a nonprofit that is a canine mission.
Oh, we're over
that gives service dogs and emotional support dogs to organizations. So I do not hate animals.
We're giving them bad press.
No,
Easy.
not like wants a world without animals.
I don't like wild animals. Okay.
Well, would you consider a hamster a wild animal?
If it's out of the cage, it's wild.
Yeah.
He one time had a hamster that he was convinced was working out to escape the cage.
Did it escape?
There's a hamster do pull-ups for 6 hours every day.
He's-
This hamster was doing
It was
pull-ups
G-force.
just to break the cage.
Yeah. Look.
No,
What
I'm
was it
telling you,
hanging
and
on?
He did. He got out. I don't like wild animals.
Yeah.
Let's make it clear. I grew up in the city of Worcester, and half of our day was running from wild dogs, and I don't like I don't know what that thing's gonna do.
Yeah.
I like
Domesticated.
let them be in the woods. That's fine. They come running at me. I'm the first one to go.
Yeah.
You're on your own.
I don't blame you.
I've told Amy knows this. Amy knows that if something animal wild is running at her, she's on her own.
Tell him the story. Was it a hedgehog? What was it?
Oh yeah. So at the office, there's a ramp. It was like 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm talking to my project manager. You know when you catch something out of your eye? I'm talking to Joel. I'm looking at him, and I catch something coming at me out of the eye. Boom, gone. Ran right by him, right? Now, Joel, if you know Joel, Joel's a hunter guy, got guns, and animals do not scare this guy. He goes running with me, right? I look back, we both look back, and it's the hedgehog that lives under the porch. He's coming at us, right? I'm like, oh, okay, it was nothing, right? He goes, I just ran because you ran. I go, Joel, to me, that was a bear out of the corner of my eye, and I'll think about it later.
Yeah. No, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
I'm in the same position. Dude.
No, wild
Mid-conversation
animals.
and just takes off.
You got to do what you got to do. Survival instincts.
Yeah, no, I'm not into the wild animals.
Yeah. I don't me either.
What is your favorite quote?
My favorite quote is the answer is always no if you don't ask. Right?
Love it.
So you have a 50% chance, right, of getting a yes or a no. So when that no happens, right, I might ask another question. That's a no. Ask another question. That's a maybe. Ooh. I ask it a different way. What if we did it this way? Yes. Try to get the yes. Don't just take the no, move on. The answer's always no if you don't ask.
Okay.
I love it.
If you could have any superpower, what would it be and why?
Superpower. I think it would be invisible. Because
Why?
I think there's a lot of people saying shit. Right?
Always.
I just have this feeling sometimes, and I just want to hear it. I'll be sitting right in that room listening.
And you could slap them and have them not know what's going
Yeah,
on.
I know there's some people talking shit. It's
Oh,
time to,
absolutely.
It's time to get it out.
What's yours?
My superpower?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Fly. I always loved the Wolverine.
Healing
being
factor.
Yeah, healing factor. I don't know why.
That's
always,
a little boring.
What do you mean it's a
It
little
is kinda
boring?
It's a little boring. Like,
Knives in your
yeah,
hands?
what? You're gonna be like, oh, break my arm. Like, is that what you want? Like,
But then you could be an actual hero.
but
like,
that's
you
not his
roll up.
main thing, though.
But imagine being able to roll up on somebody, and once they realize
Where are you rolling up, though?
I'm gonna be a hero at night, a vigilante.
I know, but
I'm going to go to the roughest neighborhoods and just walk down the street and say, if anybody starts shit, you're going to have to answer to me. And they're going to look at me and go, what are you going to do? And maybe they'll pull out a gun or a knife, and they're going to stab me or shoot me, and I'm going to regenerate. The bullet's going to pop right out, and then the person's going to get scared. No more crime. Or I want an Iron Man suit.
okay, yeah, do an Iron Man suit.
He's got a lot. He's
The
got too
healing,
many.
yeah, the healing. It's not gonna.
It's my superpower. You can't tell me what superpower I can or
I
cannot
know.
have.
I just was. I know the Iron Man suit. I could see.
What's yours?
Like telekinesis, like moving shit with my mind, like going in
Ooh.
your head,
I kind of like that too.
like gun in your head. I'm like, I hear your thoughts.
I like that.
You know,
That's good.
like Charles
That's good.
Xavier, Jean Grey type rap.
That's good. That's good. That's good.
It works. I can see you do it. Like, yeah, I see you with an Iron Man suit.
I used to, when I was little, I would put the blanket over myself in bed and imagine that was like an Iron Man suit and that I was going out. And I was always going out doing heroic stuff. Because I think a lot of times when you say to people, what superpower would you have? They have the Joe mentality of, I'm going to do something. I'm going to listen to somebody talking shit about me. I'm going to rob a bank, take all the money out or whatever. I'm like, no, I'm going to help people with my amazing.
I'm gonna haunt the narrative. I'm gonna get in your mind.
Yes,
Like,
yes,
I
yes.
can
yes.
hear you and you can
Yeah.
hear me.
You're gonna meet a girl and
we
immediately
go.
know if she's into you or not. Could you imagine, like the girl you have a crush on, being able to read her
Don't do it.
mind
We're at the
and having
end,
her and
Drew.
realizing that she's disgusted every time you walk in the room?
Exactly. No, you're such
You
an
walk in and she's smiling, but like you can hear her thoughts are going, "Oh God, this dude."
or
is
or
disgusting."
the complete opposite, where it's like you walk in and you're like, oh, she really wants me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can't stand him after time.
Okay, time travel.
Time travel.
You can go to the past or the future. Where are you going? What do you want to see?
Future.
Future. Okay.
I don't go in the past. It's ugly.
Even to see like a historical
yeah, it
event,
doesn't
you
have
know,
to
it
be
doesn't
your
have to
past.
pertain
It
to like
could
your
be-
life. There's nothing there.
It's done.
No.
Really?
I'm going forward. So I came from a family, multiple generations of work, die with nothing. Now I've started. I really am more important on generational wealth type of environment where there's something transferred, right? I just want to see if I have 4 kids. Did any of them continue it,
Yeah, yeah,
or did they blow it?
yeah.
You know, did any of them? One out of 4. You know, one of them has to take it and say, "Dad taught us all these things, and he left us all these things." Can
Keep
they
the
do?
momentum going.
I would love to see if any of them did it. Maybe more than one of them did.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's for me because I'm trying to create something that can be continued. That's what I would want to see.
Yeah. What if you go and just see them all blowing it? No, what are you doing?
It'll be Joey. Woo. No.
If you had to go right now and give a 20-minute talk with no preparation on something, you just had to walk in a room and I said, give these people a 20-minute talk and engage them, what would it be on?
I think it would be on. I think something that would be beneficial. Obviously, you can talk about business and all these things, but maybe not letting like a business or work consume your entire life.
Mm-hmm.
Took me a long time to get to a point of like, I really don't care if that's done or not. And when you're aggressive and you're trying to do things and you're like, I'm pretty anal too about stuff and OCD, and it's like the release, right? So it's funny is Dale got an award for the most laid back business owner. It was a success award of taking off time, right? So
Wait.
Dale goes,
That's an award?
yes, this is an award for, I forget what the actual award was. I'm sorry, but it was an award for like being able to run businesses, but also take a lot of time off. It was a stress, that's what it was. It was a stress management award.
Yeah.
That's what it was. The whole seminar was down the Cape, put on by this consulting firm about how to manage stress, right? It was actually a great thing. And he gets this award, right? So then he stands up and he says to them, how did you do this? And he says, okay, I want everyone to stand up. Everyone stands up. I want everyone to sit down that took 1 week off. They sit down. Took 2 weeks off. Sit down. So then the room is going, now we're at 7 weeks off. I'm looking around. I'm the only one standing up. He goes, he taught me how to do it. There's things in life, right? You get to a point, it's like the money chase happens, right? It's like I got to the point a long time ago, I'm not chasing the jet anymore. That was my 30s.
Yeah.
Right? You get to a certain point, you got a certain amount of money, it's like you can do almost anything you want, right? But I'm not going to keep working. I want to have fun.
Yeah.
So I think that would be it. How to balance work and be able to have fun, you know, and not miss anything. I don't miss anything.
Yeah.
And my entire team, I've told them at meetings, if there's a kid event, that comes first. I don't care if we have meetings, we have this, we have that, we move them. That stuff, you can't replace that. Yesterday, I took my 12-year-old son, he turned 12 yesterday. I took half the day. I took him golfing. It was the first time he did a full round, 18 holes of golf at 12. He did actually really good. Dom did really good, right? And Amy's like, I'm happy that you do those things with the kids. I'm like, because I'm not going to remember working yesterday, 20 years from now.
Right.
But I remember Dom's first round of golf.
Right. Yeah.
And they'll remember those things. So I'm more about making memories and stuff with the kids, and I'll drop anything to make that happen. Because I figured out that it still continues. Everything still goes on.
Yeah.
Next week, we'll just do it next week.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's the talk would be on balance and everything, and enjoying what you're doing.
Moose, do you have any questions? Any final thoughts, comments?
What would your topic be on?
Passion.
Passion?
100%. I'm a passion guy. You have to, you live one life, and yes, there are certain things that you have to do. Okay, so like when I got divorced, I'm a big list guy. When there's been a lot of times in my life where I would literally get a piece of paper or notebook and put down columns of certain things. So when I got divorced, I remember I got a piece of paper and I wrote down a list of things that I'm doing that I like doing, things that I'm doing that I don't like doing but I have to do. Dentist, doctor, things like that, you know, like things that's just like you have to do it because
Laundry.
yeah, things like that. Yeah,
We know you don't have a passion for laundry.
But then here's the key, and I think if a lot of people wrote a list like this, you'd be shocked at the third column. Things that I'm doing that I don't like doing and that I don't have to do. And there was quite a few things in that column. And I just remember at that point, I was like, all right, I'm going to kind of, not that I did a big giant like reset of my life, but I was like, you know what? The first thing I'm going to do is cut out everything in this column. And I remember there was a lot of things that I would literally just, you know, I sold the laundry business. I was on a lot of different boards and things like that for things that I liked, but it was just like, a lot of it was just taking a lot of my time, and I'm like, all right, I just don't have time for this. So I was calling up and I'm like, hey, listen, you know, I'll still help you out every now and then, but I don't have it in me right now. I just don't have the capacity to be there doing this all the time. Anyway, everything in that column I cut out, and it made a huge difference. And I think that a lot of people in life, they might be almost like going through the motions in their life where they're kind of like, oh, this is what life is. But if you like stopped and did like I call it the mirror test, where you look in the mirror and really look at your stuff and did literally write down and the column like of those things, you'd be shocked at how many things that you're doing that you don't have to do, that you don't like to do. Cut all that shit out. You create your life, and it makes living life with purpose. It makes a massive difference, and everyone's purpose is different. You know, some people, it doesn't have to be anything profound. It could be your family. It could be, you know, I know that you have a lot of goals that you want to accomplish. That could be your purpose. You know, everyone's is different. Everyone, we're all individuals. We're all unique. Different shit drives all of us. So anyway, yes. To wrap it all up, I could easily do I would do probably a 2-hour talk on that.
Okay.
Easily.
I like it.
Yeah.
And that's it. Are we good?
I'm good.
Do you have any more advice for Moose, who's, you know, right now he could take advice on everything. Work,
you started to go down the road, right? It's like, is that person that you do find, right, is so important in your life. Like, it helps everything. And if you get any red flags, like the biggest thing I see in relationships is like people kind of go down the road and, you know, they feel like this is the next step and this is, right? But it should come natural. So like I'm explaining this to my 18-year-old son right now, right? He's dating the girlfriend, then he's not with the girlfriend, then he's with the girl, right? And I'm like, Joe, it should just happen, right? Just naturally happen. If you want to be with that person, great. Just be with the person. Don't force it. Don't chase somebody. Don't, you know, because when it happens, it was wild for me. Like, I didn't think it was good. I was the first one to say, never getting married again. No more kids. Definitely, that was not. And Leo is the champion. It was unbelievable. Like, changed my life just having that guy. So it's like, but when she entered my life, everything made sense again. It was like boom, boom. It just happened naturally. And like I said, within 1 month, I'm like, that's it. You know, I knew I was going to be with her forever. But before that, for 5 years before that, never saw that. So.
There you go. You good?
I'm good.
Don't hit the delete button.
I'm not gonna hit the delete
Didn't go
button.
into your personal stuff.
At what point did you stop it this time?
Like 40 minutes ago.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you very much, Romero. Thank you.